Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Miller, and this is the Gaming Dialogue News. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members, participants and everyone watching us on a variety of different platforms worldwide. Thank you for joining us and thank you for being such dedicated, supportive members of my channel here on Twitch and also on YouTube. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone who watched my podcast and news and also some of the gameplay during the last week, and I've had quite a few messages coming in from our community from people who are very happy with the new concept and all that they've seen. Also, I'm a bit surprised to see that the podcast dedicated to Destiny and the way the game was made is receiving a lot of views, and that is on YouTube and on playback. So I'm very happy with the way things have gone in the course of the week, all considering I've not fully recovered health-wise, and I had many technical problems, I guess related to my new setup and PlayStation and internet connection and everything else. And that's really been altogether soothing and rewarding to see that our dedicated participants experience the new concept as being very good. I'm relieved because I was a bit worried that perhaps some people just simply walk away and depart. That's not happened. We are having a very alive and vibrant community, and quite a few of our Destiny veterans popped in, had a listen and said hello during the last week, which was fantastic. I have come across a few that I've not seen here for quite a while. And also I think I still need to find the best channel, or category I should say, through which all of the news are going to be presented. I think doing it through Destiny channel for the time being is fine, but we'll probably have to go down the route of podcasts and talk shows. Although I have to say that that category is very, very busy, and I don't really need to investigate it further. I'm quite happy with the results, and I want to thank everyone who participated, sent us comments and views, also did some likes and shared information, and particularly so in view of the charitable fundraising. We are getting some interest for that. It will take a bit of time, I know, but it has been rewarding to see that many people had been getting more acquainted with the postings and the charitable fundraiser for Mind through Twitter. So that's great. Again, very grateful to everyone. So how's everybody doing? What are you guys doing? It's bank holiday weekend here in Britain. We are enjoying a period of 3 days for many people without needing to go to work, and I know that lots of people have gone out and some stayed at home, played games here on with us on various platforms, online games, and I certainly did that. I also did go out. I have gone to my town centre, and I've spent a bit of time at the market, went to charity shops, did a bit of shopping, stayed by the river, sat there, enjoyed the views. You know, it's been very pleasant. Also, both days had very good weather, a bit of sunshine after that sort of drizzly, dreary period of a couple of weeks. But unfortunately, today we are back to that English drizzle, and it's been raining all the time. Not cold, I have to say, which is good and positive, but just raining, and raining quite heavily. So many people didn't go anywhere today, just stayed indoors, and maybe they go to pubs later in the afternoon. There's some soccer matches to be played, there are some friends to be met, and anyway, just wondering what you guys are doing, what you're playing today on your PlayStation, Xbox and PC. Ping us a message, tell us this is what we are doing today, this is what we like, these are the games that we really treasure. And I'll just tell you a bit about what I've done during the weekend. I played a variety of different titles, as mentioned in my other news bulletins. I've been dedicating the whole week to the indie gaming world and downloaded 20 indie games. I talked about it quite a bit last week, so I won't come back to that. But A Short Hike and Open Roads are the ones that are spearheading the effort of my current gameplay. Both are very good games, and they provide you with quite a different perspective on life and in-game activity. A Short Hike is a feel-good game, a bit like Spiritfarer, if you play that one as well. It's still available, I think, on Game Pass, my Xbox subscriptions, and in that game you play a bird that does not have any mobile phone reception. It needs to go high up to the peaks as this bird with her partner is spending a bit of time in the countryside away from the city, and as she carries on with her search for the signal, she needs to go to some hills, mountains, and in the course of the treks we'll meet lots of different characters to which she will have to collect things for her inventory and complete different tasks that are generally very enjoyable, and by doing so unlocking different abilities, like for instance gliding and flying, and unraveling some areas which previously were not seen, complementing the activity in the story. And it's generally a very, very good, very highly entertaining game. Recommend it to everyone. It has a bit of a basic graphics, but it doesn't matter, as the gameplay is very humorous and the characters are lovable. So similar to Eiyuden Chronicles, the game that I played extensively recently. I still actually play the game. It's the same sort of aura. You play the game, you feel really good about the characters. They're very funky, very lovable, sometimes hilarious, sometimes ludicrous, and you connect with the story very, very well. The other one is Open Roads, which is a bit like a psychodrama type of indie game. You get to know the situation in one particular family, a fractured family or fractured family situation, I need to say. A single mother with a daughter, and a daughter is a teenager. Her grandmother dies, and this grandmother is her mother's mother, and they need to vacate the premises, sell everything in an auction, and by doing so they need to really go through the stuff and find out what grandmother had over the years in the building. And by doing so they discover certain items that are telling us that their grandmother or their mother was leading a life which was not known to them, and unraveling lots of different family secrets, and that is triggering off a major change within that relationship between mother and daughter. And we also have to be changing the way we feel about them, and also our own families and the secrets which perhaps have been persisting in our own environment with our family members too. So that is quite an interesting concept, and I have to say I've really gone far into the game, coming to the end I think, and thoroughly enjoyed it. It has everything which is keeping us keeping us in suspense. As you discover the items which go to inventory, you need to talk to your mum to find out what actually these items mean, how they were linked and connected to grandmother's life. You go back in time, go back to the 60s, you discover all sorts of situations that everyone was involved with at the time, and there is an element of perhaps mental health present, as the aunt or the mother's sister was having a secret companion who was an imaginary companion. And there is a bit like a split within her mind, where the loneliness and bullying in school was creating this person who was invisible, who indeed did not exist in real life, but in fantasy, and she was communicating to that person for many, many years. So again, a game that is bringing us to what we do here, which is providing publicity and raising awareness for people with mental health problems. And there is some talk in the game about psychotherapy as well, and the fact that the aunt was going to psychotherapy for very many years and tried to resolve all these issues and problems that were family related. So it's very interesting how we find certain elements in various games that are bringing us together to what we actually do here, and that is our support for charities that provide services for people who are experiencing mental health issues. And many members of our community who've gone through a rough patch at the time would know that this community had always been very, very supportive. So these two games, Open Worlds and Open Roads, and a Short Trek, are the indie games that I'm entertaining. And then I told everyone yesterday, in addition to Destiny, I'm doing Onslaught and doing all the other activities in Into the Light, collecting the loot and getting to the platinum level. I had decided to do a bit of Apex. I've not played Apex now for a few months, and the last season number 20, is just about to end on Tuesday, and with the beginning of the new season, because I for some reason thought that the new legend was already introduced, but I discovered yesterday after talking, I talked about it here on air, and then just said, I was just literally realizing afterwards that into the game that the character, the new legend, was still not there, and then investigated and realized the new season will kick off on Tuesday, and the new legend will come on that day. So never mind, no big deal really. And we've seen the new trailer that is telling you what the new character is going to be like and what she's going to be doing. Again, special skills. You'll get 2 of those. One is your super, and the other one is the skill which you can use throughout the game, and you can level up. Lots of interesting additions both to the character and to the game as we carry on. So last night, after doing my podcast and then eating my dinner, I said, well, let's have a few hours of Apex, and it was very enjoyable. I have to say, I did feel a bit rusty after going in, and I could see that people were playing the legends that I've not encountered much before, and the most popular ones like Lifeline and Bangalore were not chosen by the guys who were coming in to play with me. So initially there were a few hiccups, with the random selection in Apex and Warzone. You're always having some issues as there is an uncanny mixture of players coming in. Some who really want to be doing solos in trios, and they don't want to do solos otherwise, as they feel that they would have to be waiting for quite a while to be slotted in. And so they come into the trio and they start doing solo activity. And in that type of multiplayer, team-based battle royale, that sort of a game, that sort of approach is completely deadly. You will be always obliterated, and it's really terrible to see that somebody's doing like a solo PUBG in Apex. I've seen that quite a few times. So I've come across a few guys like this yesterday. They weren't really particularly skilled, and therefore they were killed quite early, but the fact that they were not sticking together with the rest of the squad, they were choosing the drop points that were not applicable, it just didn't seem to be the right thing to do, and therefore everyone suffered. So a couple of flukes initially, and after that I've gone down to the top 5 several times, and then towards the end we had a winning game, and the winning was basically all down to the squad mates. This was a duo that came into my game, and you could tell that they were really like a group of Charlie players, people really up and about and really aggressively going for the kills. And altogether they had 19 eliminations, which was, formidable. And their shooting skills and the speed was really second to none. I've got to say, probably one of the best duos I played with, and that did result in our victory. I also provided some recce for them and some support from the background, as they were really kind of pushing forward aggressively and rapidly. And we did really extremely well. They got hit 3 times, so I was able to revive, and Bangalore has that smoke grenade that creates a very, very good cover if you need to be reviving, and I helped them as much as I could, and they were just very grateful. They revived me a couple of times, and they provided cover fire. It was really it was just so enjoyable to be playing with an experienced team that also wasn't overly negatively competitive, as some of these Apex squads really are. And thoroughly enjoyable time. Also, I need to say that everyone who's playing still Apex on the OGen consoles, and that is Xbox One and then the PlayStation 4. Once you migrate to the next-gen consoles, it's just a different game. The graphics are so incredibly sublime, mouth-watering textures to the backgrounds, the characters are much faster, your hits register better, everything is just a lot better one way or the other, and it's much more enjoyable. So if you have a chance to just upgrade, make sure you play Apex on the state-of-the-art equipment and the next-gen consoles, as your experience of the game, the gameplay and squadding up, as well as your hit ratio, which is extremely important, will be massively enhanced. I really could see the difference straight away yesterday. On my PlayStation 4, my hits wouldn't register always, particularly like sniper fire and some of the light machine guns, and yesterday it was just, the enemy was cracking straight away, and that really was making me feel very, very happy and content with the fact that I've got now tip-top setup for the very best experience of any of those upgradable games. Don't forget, Apex did come out a little while back. Give me a second. And it was a PlayStation 4 game, as well as Xbox Series S. And what happened was they had lots of glitches and problems initially, but as they went on, they resolved all these problems, and today the game had really evolved to a degree which I would have not expected initially. It's very busy, and they have several maps and a dedicated, and that's a very dedicated group of community members who are playing the Apex every single day in the same way as you would see, for instance, people doing Destiny and Warzone and PUBG and all the other big shooters. So what really is equally interesting is the community that does cosplay. And we have quite a few characters doing cosplay and then doing the streams and providing us with very interesting images and their own creations, to which they manage to build or create the costumes on Twitter in particular and Instagram. So really, you can go to my Twitter and have a look at all the images which were coming my way. I have quite a few cosplayers attached to the profile, and I quite like very many of them, but I have to say it saddens me to see that people start out with very noble intentions, really good ideas, to which they build their fan base, and then what you get is, as they perhaps are not generating many enough likes or followers, many people are impatient, they go down the adult route, and then you get all these adult websites being recommended, and you can see the content is changing, and that saddens me, really. It's almost like taking a shortcut, hoping that a pot of gold will come to you straight away. And I need to say to everyone, anything to do with streaming and video gaming and doing things online is a very, very lengthy journey. So do not believe the stories you hear on, stories and shorts and YouTube clips when they're telling you, I made that many followers within a couple of weeks, I made this and that. Well, no. This is just not possible if you're doing it in a fashion which is based on the rules, terms and conditions, the principles that Twitch and all the other platforms uphold. It's just something that will take a long period of time, and you will have to be building a community according to the quality content, and I guess depending on what type of presentations you are likely to be given to the world, as well as what game you've chosen. But it's going to be a very, very long journey for you and for people who join your channel. So I'd say anything between 5 to 7 years of everyday streaming, 5 hours per day minimum, and particularly if you're streaming certain kinds of games, will be giving you that degree of satisfaction, and you'll get eventually to these rewards, but not in a couple of months. Today I've started out, and 2 weeks or 3 weeks already have like 20,000 people follow me. It just doesn't work like that. It may work like that for some people who are doing things which are, I guess, on the edge or somewhere within the niche area of breaking the rules. But I'm not really interested. When I see that some of the streamers, there was one streamer in particular who really liked in the old days, and she's just gone down the adult route, full blown, and I don't really watch her streams and anything anymore, because it's just a change of direction, and it's quite radical compared to what we had seen in the past. So anyway, just sort of digress somewhat, but cosplay is one of the most popular activities linked to Apex, in addition to people who obviously do it in the arena, and people who are doing looting and shooting, which is the trademark of the game. And highly recommend everyone to have a look at some of these guys. And Nestface is a member of my community there on Twitter, and she does very quirky, very funny Apex streams. So have a look and tell me what you think of her streams, and also of what you discovered as you're exploring other Apex cosplayers. What else was I doing? Well, just a bit of admin really overall. There's been a lot of discussions online about the showcase events and all that is to follow very, very soon through Xbox and various other platforms and companies. Summertime is basically the period where we get the best of the news, and they present the titles that will be coming our way later in the year. So there's a lot of rumor spreading about certain titles, and there's a lot of curiosity as to why the Xbox team decided to create the showcase called Xbox Presentation Redacted without telling us anything about the game. So I guess the idea is to keep everyone on their toes and everyone speculates and wanted to find out what it is, that degree of curiosity, which there is, of course. And my take on this is that the game introduced will be allowed Might be completely mistaken, maybe complete surprise, but that's what I think. Avowed was very heavily promoted a little while back, and the game has been seriously delayed. And then it suddenly disappeared, from the news and from the regular kind of Twitter and RSS feeds. So I suspect, this might be it. Anyway, it's my take on it. I might be completely wrong. You prove me wrong. Tell me what you think is going on, and indeed, we'll find out on that. Is it the 6th of, or is it the 9th? It's the 6th of... I keep mixing the dates. There's too many dates in June. Like the 4th of June is the Final Shape showcase and the release of the last DLC of Destinies. And then you have this Xbox showcase a couple of days later. I think it was the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, 6th of June. And then the other ones will follow, with the other bigger developers and companies. So a lot to look forward to, really, for the summer ahead. I'm very excited and certainly look forward to certain titles. And, we just have to be patient and then wait for the presentations and then get the fact, not the rumor. It's been an old slogan in the trading community: trade the rumor, sell the fact. And I think the same rule applies here in our video gaming community, but we got to be able to verify all of that information, and particularly if certain conflicts arise related to developers and publishers, as this can be very confusing and disconcerting for members of the community on either side, people working on the tech side of things and creating games, ID developers, and the guys who are doing Twitch and playing games, or just simply watching what is going on. We need to have that degree of clarity to prevent unpleasantries and any form of future conflicts. And it's very dangerous if people who are doing the streams, or something on Twitch or YouTube, indeed running their news on various social networking platforms, just jump on one of those rumors, and I've seen that several times. This is what's going to be happening. Destiny 3 is just about to be released, and the news such as this character will actually live in the game, and in fact they will die very early, and then building up a very negative aura about the game. And before its release, I think one of the best games that came out in recent years, certainly in the last 10 years, is The Last of Us 2, the sequel. And it was a huge problem initially, as the rumor had been developed for some time by Joel. I'm not going to repeat it, you'll know probably what it was about. And then when the game was released, everyone was like so disappointed that this had not happened. Well, it could have happened because the team making the game never thought about this and never really suggested that this sort of outcome is going to be present in the title. And it was all coming out of various parts of the gaming community, and I have to say also to some gaming hubs. I really don't enjoy that type of rumor spreading, as it can be sometimes affecting the overall success of the game once it's released. So that's probably what I've been doing during the weekend. Nothing really in addition to that, nothing terribly new exciting. Just really sad to see that in our local area the weather's gone downhill yet again. More thunderstorms, more rain, and more drizzly weather. And I've got to say, due to this sciatica I suffered from now recently, I've not been going up and about as much as usual, and I can really feel that physically. I go swimming 5 times a week, but I've not gone for my usual nightly, daily treks and walks, which are extremely important for my mobility. And I really need to resort to that. I need to be a bit more disciplined. The reason for that is, as I've gone back to streaming, there's a lot of preparation for my podcasts and news and the game streams, and then there wasn't enough time to play certain games, and it just all turned out to be not enough time for anything, and that's not the way things should be, and not happy. But on the other hand, it does happen if you start out something in a new format, and it takes a bit of time to get to know everything, where everything becomes like a second nature. Then you got your regular daily drill, and then everything is a lot easier. So I'm still undergoing this process of change, and I'm also hampered by my health to a degree. But I'll get there in time, I think, and then there will be more time for my nightly treks and the overall kind of physical fitness upkeep, which is what I always pay attention to. let's have a look at the news, what's come on the wire. Today is, as I said, a holiday in Britain, so we're not having that many interesting news coming out of the usual hubs. People are at home or sleeping or resting or whatever, and we're just getting algorithmic postings. But the biggest really debate during the last week, and it's been persisting everywhere across the board, I think more so this weekend than on any other day, is the debate about Helldivers, right? And that's Helldivers 2, the sequel, and a huge amount of problems with the idea that they are changing the way the game operates for PC players and for those who are on consoles. So I dug up a very good article from Game Rant that is telling us all about it. I've not played Helldivers, but a game that's certainly very interesting, and it's just ridiculous when you see that the game is successfully launched and attracts a lot of interest, and they really want to capitalize even more on that interest in a way which is very unsavory. And then it goes the other way. And don't forget, lots of people have very short attention span. They will not be supporting the game if they feel that they're being defrauded, or that there's been something going on. Like, for instance, you were promised one content and then you didn't get it. Like, for instance, with Redfall, people are still waiting for this extra content. Many months later, it's almost a year gone since the game was released. They paid for it, and it's still not there. I think eventually it will materialize. We had the same problem with Anthem, with Cataclysms. They did not materialize as soon as they should, and then they said they'd be reworking the activity, and we'll get more of that, and it never materialized. And it cannot really work in favor of that developer or publisher as it goes. So let's have a look at what's been going on with Helldivers 2 and what's that PlayStation account link controversy. I really wonder what this is all about. And they said that Helldivers 2's controversial update requires PC players, so that's people playing on computers, to link to a PSN account, and that's a PlayStation Network account, which in fact needs to be paid for, right? Sparking protests and potential backlash from the entire community. And these concerns include region locking for those players in countries without PSN access, and then also there are worries over data security due to Sony's past breaches. And then there is also a huge amount of anger amongst the players, and they're review bombing and boycotting the game, hoping that this will be affecting the developer, notably the Arrowhead Games, and also Sony, to reconsider the mandatory PSN accounts link, which means they would have to be doing it unless otherwise they couldn't play the game. So they really built a massive community online in a relatively short period of time, and the backlash is just really, I guess, creating huge uproar everywhere, and it's putting the future of this game in a very, very sort of fragile situation, putting it on thin ice. And the specific update, which was discussed last week or suggested, or in fact debated or announced, I'm not exactly sure, but it's been already applied. And this update is the one that indicates that everybody will need to be linking their PC to the game to a PlayStation Network account. So if everything goes according to the original announcement for this update, the players will need to link their progress to a PSN account, which is PlayStation Network account, in order to continue playing the game on PC. Otherwise, they will not be able to do it. So considering the overall displeasure and protests, it looks like this update may well be scrapped. So the question is, well, what's the reason for this? Why did they do that? And so according to the announcement from the Steam page, a PSN account is required to allow the developers at Arrowhead Game Studios to ban malicious players, and also to allow players to appeal these in-game bans. So I guess they'll say it's all about safety, because this is a game where you eliminated opponents, and there is a competitive element which sometimes causes that degree of annoyance or displeasure for those people who are just playing for fun. And again, coming back to them, to say a PSN account will be required for all new players as of May the 6th. So that is in fact today. And the deadline for the existing players to link this their account to PSN will be June the 4th, so still they'll have maybe a month, 4 weeks to do that. And they said in this announcement that everyone who is not linking the Helldivers to account progress to a PSN account, well, will not be able to play the game. So what does that mean? So they said this was... they said in the past that this was always a requirement to play the game on PC. There has been a grace period where this was not necessary, which led people to believe that this sort of setting was optional, and I think that's the way it should be. So many people, many players began playing the game during this time without ever needing or having a PSN account, right? So that's all very confusing, isn't it? It wasn't really stated right from the start that this is going to be required, obviously not to be affected as sales. So one of the main concerns that players have with a mandatory PSN account, link for PC players in this upcoming Helldivers update, is that this will region lock the game from those countries where PSN is not available. And similar to Xbox Live, PSN is not available in every single country. And what makes this especially problematic is that there were no measures in place to prevent players who actually live in those regions from purchasing the game. So in fact, they could purchase the game, but they were not told about these possible restrictions, meaning you pay the money for the game, eventually you can't play it, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's robbery. Consequently, players who live in these regions will be unable to play Helldivers 2 when this update goes live, due to not being able to link the game to a PSN account. So another reason why gamers are protesting about this is out of concern that perhaps the data could be stolen. And we did see in not so distant past that PlayStation suffered from hacking attacks to which personal data, and that's like bank details and all sorts, was being snatched by a third party, which is not known to the public. You know, we don't know who actually was doing this, and there's been a lot of concern about the security breaches at PlayStation over the years. So that is also what PC players are not happy about. And they said that they had a history of being the victim of external data breaches, and in recent years this has been, as I said, resulting in the information being stolen. So from 2023, in 2023, there had been experiences about 2 separate data breaches, and then there's about 2 or 3 occurring during the last 10 years. And they were widely reported, so you'll be fully aware of what was going on at the time. So in view of this, the game is receiving unbelievably bad reviews on Steam, which is not surprising. And people have been protesting about this update. They were hoping that the Arrowhead Game Studios and Sony will simply forget about this, and then they'll get rid of this update before it goes live in the game. And then they talked about this on every social media platform. And the other thing which was noticed, it wasn't just talking, but leaving these negative reviews for the game everywhere. So also many were asking for refunds, and then others were boycotting the game, and all of that is just creating an aura where the game is just plummeting. And you know what effect that will have on the investors in Arrowhead, and nobody wants to see that. You've seen, for instance, with CD Projekt Red, the company that made The Witcher and Trilogy and Cyberpunk, they had very different sort of technical problem right at the beginning. They were not doing anything of this sort, but the game was not performing on various platforms. It was crashing, and it was just completely technically unsound. And their shares had dropped by 75% in no time. It was a huge concern that the company will simply be bankrupted if somebody was not stepping in to help. And it just seemed to be unwise policy of a team that's overly eager in a situation that works positively for the company. I know there are many reasons for that. It's not just picked out of a hat. There are many reasons as to why they want to capitalize at that moment. It's a bit like a film opening on Friday and making $750 million within the first weekend. They want to make sure that every single screen, or as many screens as possible, at the multiplex will be screened that film, to attract more interest, to get the money back. Getting money back is the priority. People don't understand this. You have a game that costs $500 million, 500 million. You want to get that money back as soon as possible, because there are going to be threats and liabilities as you carry on. One of which is a major increase of the running costs for the game to be maintained, like from updates to live server games and you name it. So they want to get the money back, the invested money, immediately. And everything else coming in will be an increment and a bonus. And that's the way it really should be approached. But unfortunately, there are also some investors that get a bit greedy and they want a lot more to what they actually should be getting within that period. And therefore, these types of decisions are made and they come across rather harshly for people who are involved with online gaming. So, as you could see, that indeed is very, very strange, and there is a major discussion across the board on various social networking forums. I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it on TikTok. People leaving short clips indicating how much they hate the game, and that is not what you want to see. You want the short clips of 30 seconds to tell you love the game. You have to see what the outcome is. I believe that the developer, Arrowhead, they will have to be basically pitching the whole idea, and they'll have to make sure that the game is accessible and playable in every country, otherwise they'll be gone. And if you consider the situation, you can see as to why I always keep saying that the online gaming community is a massive force of so many people worldwide, and we've got to be able to use the force for the good, to do something which is beneficial, noble, providing something positive, forward thinking, nourishing for those who are participating, or indeed for us to be supporting certain entities such as charities or good causes or certain activities that are fighting for equality, for justice, for health. Health is a basic necessity which is given to us really at birth, and we have got to fight for it in the present day and age. And I find it astonishing that, all considered, there are many services in both national and sort of private health in various countries that appear to be not accessible to people who actually at that point really need them. And I find that completely unacceptable. It's a birthright. You should be able to access the services in order to maintain your health, because at the end of the day, your health is the beginning and the end of it all. Without it, you're nothing. You can't live without good health. You've got to be able to maintain it. And you're not able to live independently and do other things as you'd like if you're not having that degree of support if such illness occurs. As we've seen, for instance, during the pandemic, many people perished due to the lack of support which they received. And it wasn't just due to the virus. It was also sometimes due to loneliness and isolation and everything else that came together with lockdowns and all the threats to our civil liberties and everything else that took place during the first couple of years. And there were reasons as to why it had to be applied. There's no doubt about that. But there was collateral. There were consequences. And as I said, we have got to be concerned about the way we maintain our health at all times. It's absolutely pivotal. Right, so we carry on with some other news. A lot of chatter about Xbox and all that is being prepared for us, and Microsoft. You will know that Microsoft is just growing, moving from strength to strength in terms of how they run their business with gaming. And although there are lots of skeptics and those people who hate Microsoft due to Windows problems and other things, really, without me naming them live on air, they just proved everyone wrong. And the Game Pass platform is one of the most popular on the planet. You can access more than 500 games at any time. You can play them on that subscription fee. There's no extra charges. And my gaming just completely revolutionized ever since they introduced these streaming platforms for gaming, and they're just getting better every single day. So evidently there's a lot of anticipation about every one of the big showcases. So they managed to really, I guess, put down the events like E3. They were one of the regular biggest contributors for that convention, and now E3 is no more. And Microsoft is doing their own showcase, and Sony is doing their own, and they all have gone down the route of we are going to be doing something which belongs to us. We are the owners, we're the proprietors. We'll do our own games there, and then you can see for yourself what is there on offer, what you like the best. And that is the principle. You know, in the US, that degree of individuality, individual achievement, and individual ownership is probably more developed than anywhere else in the world. We have some of that in Britain, but it's nowhere near the experience that I've had with many American entrepreneurs, be it in recent years or many years before. And I can understand it. If you had invested all of that revenue into your projects and your products, you really want people to come to you directly. You don't want any middlemen. Middlemen will just take everything away from you, financially and otherwise. And that's the idea behind it. So let's see what they are announcing. And it's less than a month before we come to this big day. We heard from Phil Spencer that he's very confident about this. And there have been other people speculating about what are the most anticipated titles and what can be expecting from the big showcase. So, State of Decay 3 is suggested, Clockwork Revolution, Gears 6. There's speculations coming from the gaming community, and we do not know really whether those games are going to be presented. But just a thought that State of Decay 3, maybe one of those, is huge. And I'm certainly hoping that he's getting some information from the whistleblowers, that he's not really, literally creating it, pulling it out of a hat. I guess the other thing is the next Call of Duty game, either a standalone game or perhaps part of Warzone activities. So, they've gone in with Microsoft in recent times, Activision and Blizzard, and that is certainly one of those big ones which is on the cards. So, as I said, that's the speculation at the moment. State of Decay 3, like a big, huge surprise. And then Gears of War 6, maybe, and that's certainly a game that I really would like to see. Played the series from day one, absolutely love it, one of the best series of that sort in video gaming history. And, to see, I have to say that the last Gears of War was not generally widely accepted, and I love it. I think it's just so different to the rest of the series, and very, very beautifully designed with lots of co-op play and many different options to which you can actually complete a game. So different, I guess, to the earlier titles, as they were fairly linear and fairly straightforward with some very difficult tasks. And this was just, I guess, moving ahead with the times and creating an environment that is more open to engagement as a multiplayer, even when you're doing the campaign and various other things. And Kate is just so engaging. She's so different to the rest of the guys we've seen previously there. And I guess swinging from very male-run dominant environment to something significantly different. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Watched presentations on day one and showcases that were done here in London, and it's just great right from the beginning. And I still can go back to it anytime, play it a bit and have fun. And also you have death matches and PvP in Gears, and they're very popular. They're similar to what you have in Halo. So definitely, if you've not played Gears, most highly recommend you to get your Xbox console and then try and get your own personal experience of Marcus Phoenix and the rest of the chums there. So, upcoming Xbox Series X games for 2024 and beyond. So let's see what games are coming our way on Xbox in view of that showcase event and presentation and so. And really curious. Let me see what they're indicating in here. Upcoming horror games, the long-awaited Elden Ring DLC, the litany of all sorts of games for 2024, and obviously now having other companies joining them, being within the umbrella of Xbox Game Studios, it is a lot easier for them to keep the hype going and keep everyone in huge suspense. So the first big game that we know is going to be released on May the 21st is the game I'm really, really looking forward to. That's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and also the game that is blending in very well with what we do here on the channel. This game is all about mental health. It gives you a visualization of a mind of a person who's suffering from mental illness. And the only slight disappointment in the first game was that at the end, the character didn't wake up. That was the thing, It was just like a nightmarish dream. But maybe she can't wake up if she's living with psychosis 24/7. And the ultra-realistic portrayal of that basically made this game win lots of awards everywhere. And they were not just awards from the gaming industry, they were coming from all other sections of our society, commending the quality of the game and the fact it brings out certain questions in the open that were previously seen as a taboo. And also it's ultra-realistic, so if you were to be playing Senua and Hellblade on your high-quality headphones, you would have playing it loud, you would have a first-hand experience of what it's like to be experiencing voices. And it's just ultra-realistic and very close to the bone, and a game that certainly can be commended for that in full. So I'm very excited to see that on the 21st, it's in about 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away, or whatever, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is going to be coming our way. And I think that what I've seen so far, and that's some trailers and some concept art and some screenshots, it just seems to be mouth-watering. The first game I thought was incredibly advanced when it came out, technologically, like visually and in every way. And this one should be like a genre-defining title. So really get ready for that, May the 21st, and for the title coming from Ninja Theory. And then Still Wakes the Deep, that is from the Chinese room. And we've not really seen much about the game, just a short teaser. And it's a first-person action game, and they made already a debut in one of the showcase events, where in fact everyone, I guess, talked about that being similar to Amnesia. Amnesia was the full series present on Game Pass until very recently. I think one of the games is still there. Amnesia is a horror game, so it's a point and click, the Seventh Guest old style, horror, going through the dungeons, going through the weird dark corridors and desolate places with dark old house at the top and that sort of thing. And they said that keeping everything under the wraps, we are not clear what the game is going to be like. So Still Wakes the Deep, certainly one of those, that will be coming out on June the 18th. So that is almost a month and a half away from us. That's June the 18th of 2024. Then one of those greatly anticipated DLCs, it's for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, and DLC that will be released on the June the 21st of 2024. So that is, again, not far away from us, coming from the company called From Software. And it is not on the Game Pass compared to the other two titles. Remember that. So if you want to play Still Wakes the Deep and Hellblade 2, you will be able to get them on day one through the Game Pass. And that's really so great. I remember the old days. You would queue up and you'd be waiting before midnight outside of your local video game shop in order to get a physical copy of that game first. So you'd be like one of the first gamers having it, and you'll run back home and play it all night. Well, these days are completely gone. They don't exist anymore. But I remember so many times going back home on a double-decker, and then in my local area there were several shops, in a high street, and you see these massive big queues for the games like Mass Effect or Call of Duty in particular, Halo. Huge queues of people trying to barge in to get the copy as quickly as possible and then run back home. So you still have some clips of that on YouTube. So if you're interested, just see what this was like. Not that long time ago, before we had instant digital downloads and before Twitch streams became reality, and it's a different story today. But on the other hand, still you got the same degree of excitement. People preload, prepay, pre-order, and then you get it on the day, exactly at the right time, everyone's stepping in. The only difficulty is that with the old games, the ones on discs, there were no dangers of server meltdowns, because too many people coming in and playing it at the same time. And that sometimes it does happen with the new titles, the titles, particularly those based on multiplayer activity and those run live online. But, it's just a downside before the tech still continues to evolve, and then we'll have no problems anymore. But that's just the way life is. But I certainly think for myself, getting those digital downloads really made it so easy. And also, if you get those downloads on your console, wherever you are, you can just simply play the game. You know, there's no regional restrictions or anything, and it is so much better. They really have to forget about the old ways. I think games should be playable anywhere, a bit like films. What do you need these regional restrictions for? I know the thinking behind it, but it's just preventing the sales. How frustrating is this when you go to a charity shop and you pick up a DVD, you don't check the region, you go back home and you realize, that actually was made for region 1, and that's in the US. It's not region 2, which is for the entire European continent. You can't play the video. You can't play the DVD or Blu-ray. We can put it in. Unless you obviously have a brand new Blu-ray or DVD player which is suited for that region. Anyway, I'm very much against that. I think it's very wrong, and it will never pay off. I think, considering what Phil Spencer says, I completely agree with him. The games today, they have got to be cross-platform, they have got to be cross-saved, and they have to be accessible everywhere from any device. That's the bottom line, and that is the way the things are going to be, whether people like it or not. And I look forward to that. You've seen already with Samsung how, for instance, they have Game Pass on these specific television sets, and Xbox are working day and night to make sure that the software and the whole system work properly, as they see that as the next step. Anyway, we'll see how it all evolves, and we've seen sometimes fairly unbelievable things emerging which were previously impossible to imagine or even conceive. Well, just think about how Twitch revolutionized the whole world of video gaming. It is extraordinary, and it's equally extraordinary that Twitch streams on both platforms, Sony and particularly on Xbox, are not really as good as they should be. Twitch is still the the quality of Twitch streams is by far still the best if you do it directly through a PC. I think it's incredible. Xbox is not streamable as it stands today. I'm not sure whether it would be improved or enabled had I been using capture card and PC, but again, that is causing problems with the overall use of energy. Then secondly, you have problems with the internet because it's using a bandwidth. There are many other factors in there which are of great concern. But one with the other, I'm astonished to see that you cannot be streaming to Twitch off a brand new Xbox Series S or X due to its fault, which is a technical fault, through the Twitch integration to the menu, and it cannot be resolved. It is simply insurmountable. It's just unbelievably big problem. You can't have your proper audio and the picture's poor. The same problem that was persisting a little while back as they had their Mix app that was to be their own app and their own platform competing with Twitch, and completely backfired. I mean, I streamed on Mix a couple of times, well, for a little while, for 4 weeks, and it was catastrophic. It was just much worse than awful. Coming back to the games that we're expecting on Xbox still to be released, Black Myth Wukong. So that game is completely embroiled with the imagery and various myths from Chinese mythology. And it will be coming out on August the 20th. Not sure, they've not confirmed that it will come out on Game Pass, but coming from Game Science, and it's just completely based on Chinese story journey to the West, and then you will be taking the role of the Destined One, and then exploring a variety of locations, whilst using all kinds of supernatural mythical spells and transformations. So looking very good. Wulong was a very enjoyable game, albeit very difficult with some of the bosses that also came out on Xbox and Game Pass last year. Was it 2 years ago? Very, very good game, and beautiful graphics, and bringing you back to that ancient Japan, similar to Ghost of Tsushima on PlayStation. So definitely top notch. Well, the game I really look forward to, coming from Ubisoft, is Star Wars Outlaws. And the company that's working, or had worked, still working on the game, is the same company that made The Division. And that's Massive Entertainment. So really, really excited. And I can see now they said the Game Pass inclusion had not been confirmed. But I thought that this is what they said during the last year's presentation, that it will be on the Game Pass. I'm not sure, we'll see. These things change. depends on the deals and the contracts and agreements that they have, and sometimes a couple of years in advance, oh yeah, of course we'll do that. That's definitely going to be the way we'll do it, similar to what we had with Bungie and Destiny. Oh yeah, we'll stay on Game Pass indefinitely. Now we are new partners with Microsoft, and then 12 months later, all gone. And I mean, evidently we have got to be receptive to changes, but I think if you're giving such agreements or such promises to a very large gaming community, and that will be affecting their spending, their purchasing power and everything else, if you know that it is going to be fully available with all DLCs through that streaming platform, you're not going to be purchasing anything else that's coming out because you're expecting your subscription will cater for that. And guess what happens? Goes the other way. So I don't know, we'll see this. And certainly very, very excited. I've seen recently their story trailer that looked very good, and very excited about all that is to follow. So we had a very good look previously, and as said, we are going to be exploring the Outer Rim soon, and that is going to be on August the 30th of 2024. Well, Stalker 2 had been delayed for a while and many times due to that dreadful war in Ukraine, and we heard that the game is likely to be released on September the 5th, and it will also be included day one on the Game Pass. Well, we need to wait and see. There have been so many delays already. Everything I've seen from the studios, and that is GSC Game World, is just incredible. And from eye-watering graphics to the atmosphere, everything captured like, for instance, what we had with the old Stalker games on PCs. And just can't wait to see it, Also, just wondering what options we'll have there with the inventory and with the gameplay, as there were some tricky elements in the first game. In particular, I played it extensively on my PC and had some problems with inventory, and because obviously it's a game taking place after Nuclear Armageddon, you're susceptible to radiation, and if you have a lot of stuff in inventory, you're being slowed down, you can't be walking fast, and then you die. So that can be affecting your gameplay very tremendously. So I'm really curious to see whether that will work. Very frustrating at times, I've got to say. Very small inventory at the time as well. And they said that, that's going to be seen as one of the most exciting first-person shooters. And it's a very frightening, fierce adventure. And that will come out on September the 5th. Then Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Well, you played Warhammer games. They are very, very good as well. And coming out on September the 9th. That's not confirmed for the Game Pass, coming out of Saber Interactive. You're playing Space Marine, who basically is wanting to help the Imperium against Tyranid hordes. And these hordes are very, very tricky. So there was a trailer and some snippets of it during the Game Awards last year, if you watched it. So you'll remember that was definitely well introduced and well promoted there. Visions of Mana, that's a new entry in the Mana series coming from Square Enix, is coming out at some point during the summer. They didn't really confirm the date, and you basically are playing this sort of action RPG similar to the other games of the series, and it follows Val as he protects his childhood friend from what's been chosen as something called the Alm of Fire. And then you must make your way to the Tree of Mana. So beautiful environments, fantastic 3D combat, and similar to the old. And definitely, if you are a fan of the series and some of the other Square Enix titles of the sort, you will be delighted. So at some point during the summer. Metaphor ReFantazio coming out on October the 11th, and that is going to be on the Game Pass from day one. So, well, Atlas is a well-known developer, and they said you get everything you'd expect from them. So it's anime fantasy RPG, and it looks very similar to Persona. Well, we'll see. What I've seen so far with screenshots was mouth-watering and very appealing. The game I consider to be perhaps very much part of that Redacted is Avowed. Avowed is coming out at some point in fall of 2024. So that is, again, as I said, very likely to be one of the big surprises of the showcase. And the developer is beloved Obsidian Entertainment. We love Obsidian, and they're really absolutely terrific. You'll remember Fallout New Vegas, in particular, The Outer Worlds, which I love as well. Grounded, that is still offered as a kind of a game preview on Xbox Game Pass. And obviously, as Obsidian belongs to the family of Xbox Studios, it is going to be accessible day one on the Game Pass. So, and they said that is the first-person RPG, and it is filled with memorable characters, and it's a fantasy world called Iora, and it seems very immersive and very big, similar to what you had in Starfield and Elder Scrolls, and just a lot more darker in tone compared to everything else coming from Obsidian. And lots of magical abilities and special powers and supers and you name it. Very, very exciting to see how this would really compare with Elder Scrolls. I think for me, that's the main factor which I will be monitoring. A game we've heard about a lot, and it's very similar to Vampire Survivors, albeit in a different fashion, as 33 Mortars is a major multiplayer game in which you can be playing the game together with other 32 participants in order to defeat those incredibly big raid-style bosses. And if you have just a few people on board, you will be failing. Remember that it's a co-op roguelike experience, and it's a company that created Spiritfarer. So it couldn't have been more different. Spiritfarer, very touchy-feely, emotional type of game for everyone, easily accessible, for family, friends, all generations and ages. And this is a bit more brutal. You have match raids, which will be filled with 33 guys, and you need to really work your way up in order to eliminate those bosses. We're leveling up, a skill tree and all this. So the other multiplayer will be definitely encouraging players to collaborate and work together through many waves of attacks on the enemy. Then we have Ark 2. Did I say the date? Released on, well, they didn't confirm the date. It's going to be at some point in 2024. And the developer is Thunder Lotus. Again, day one on Game Pass. Ark 2 is coming out again at some point in 2022. Very, very popular survival open world game. And, we've heard that Vin Diesel has been fully on board. And we'll see what he's doing in there. Don't know whether you played it. It is, how to put it, the world's similar to Avatar. You get in, and there are all kinds of challenges in there, and you need to survive. So that's the bottom line. Then we have the casting of Frank Stone. I quite like the trailer that coming from Supermassive, and this is the company that created this very successful and highly terrifying horror games Until Dawn and The Quarry. They're called Supermassive, and they kind of make this game together with Behavior Interactive, and it is trying to merge some ideas that we've seen in Dead by Daylight. So I'm not sure really what will be happening, but what I've seen so far was utterly terrifying, and I kind of look forward to seeing the final product. I really like The Quarry, albeit the ending was a bit sudden for my liking. And Until Dawn I have not played in full, so I still need to go through it, but definitely a developer with huge amount of skill and talent, and with massive potential for every single title. I have to say The Quarry for me is probably one of the most immersive horror games that I've ever seen, and it's more like an interactive movie. It's similar to Amazon series that you get today, and you play all the characters, you interact with them, and many options. Your decisions influence the outcome, and you're sort of fighting in order to survive, in order to preserve life of quite a few of those young coaches who got stranded on this weird island, and are being attacked by some sort of unknown force, not even clear what the force is, and all linked to some curse that a family had sustained over the centuries, and just lots of weird horror-style activities, and you really feel for the characters. I really want to shout at the screen saying, "Don't go there, don't do this," and that is its greatest strength. and definitely casting Frank Stone. Hotly anticipated. The date not confirmed. Game Pass also not confirmed. Flintlock: Siege of Dawn is again going to be released in 2024. Game Pass inclusion. A44 Games, new RPG, and that's the company we know for Ashen, and it's a new fantasy world. You got lots of new superpowers. You play as a coalition army member Norvanek, and then they have their companion Enki, and it's a fox-like creature that goes around with Nor. And when the gods of the world suddenly return with humanity at risk, this Norvanek will basically try to come back with vengeance against the gods themselves. So that sounds good. Probably lots of bosses in there, considering the gods are involved. Then you have Hollow Knight, Silk Song. I don't know whether you played Hollow Knight, quite a tricky game, and it's very similar to it's a sequel to Metroidvania action adventure, and so that's the sequel to that. And you have the role of Hornet, the princess, and then the protector of the Hollow Nest, and then you need to be exploring this weird haunted kingdom. So it's coming out in 24. The date not confirmed. Developer is Team Cherry, and it will be again like the other ones on the Game Pass. Another game I'm very excited about, and it's hotly anticipated in our community. It's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Great Circle rather than Cycle. So I'll say it again. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Again, coming out at some point this year. Machine Games are the developer. Will be on the Game Pass Day 1, and it is pitched between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, and everything we've seen so far is just really Ardisweld. And the studio which gave us Wolfenstein will have humor, heart, lots of action, lots of punching, shooting, eliminations, and also, I've got to say, Harrison Ford in the game looks very, very youthful. So he looks like he would have done in Raiders of the Lost Ark right at the beginning, compared to the last one. I think for myself, together with Outlaws, this is one of those AAA blockbuster games that I really want to see ASAP. Then a game that I really, really recommended to everyone, even before I've seen much of it, is Lost Records Bloom and Rage. And that comes from one of my favorite developers, The Nod, the creators of Life is Strange series. And that will be coming out at some point in 2024. So really amazing trailer, which had been given to us during the ID and the Xbox presentation. You have this girl who does a Blair Witch Project styled activity. She goes around with an old camcorder, actually records all activities of friends, schoolmates, and whatever goes on in the neighborhood. And then suddenly, after this for a while, you get her self-recorded, indicating that if you are watching this tape, I'm dead. I've been murdered. And then the whole thing sort of cuts out, and that's it. So really, really mind-provoking, very interesting type of trailer. And visually, and in everything I've seen, it was really connecting with the early Life is Strange titles in the series. So we can't really wait to see that. And apparently what you'll have is a journey that will be taking 27 years after an astonishing summer back in 1995 that ultimately leaves the characters to share a secret. And they've not been in contact ever since. So, you know, again, a bit of a mystery, a bit of excitement attached to what these characters are going to be hiding, and you know, all the elements of Life is Strange are present in there, but within a different concept, with new characters, with different story. I'm really excited about that one. So late 2024, coming from Nod, not confirmed for the Game Pass. Pragmata, coming from Capcom. Well, they said that the game feels a bit like a weird version of Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, and set in New York, and you have a weird spacesuit wearing traveler who is looking out for a young girl. I remember watching this trailer in one of those presentations, and I have to say, the trailer definitely did grab me. It looked amazing. Very weird, but definitely amazing. And you have holographic cats, robots, and weird dystopian vibe. So a bit like, I don't know, The Division meeting Ghostwire, you know? that was the impression I had. The Division meeting Ghostwire, really odd and really weird, and therefore we should be very excited. Replaced, coming from Sad Cat Studios at some point in 24, not confirmed. For Game Pass, we have again a sci-fi game, like 2D sci-fi retro futuristic world. You play Reach, and that's an AI that's strapped in a human body. And this is likely to be an action platformer. Right, so that's interesting. And visually, looked very appealing. So you have the sequel to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, coming from the Chinese room in the autumn of 2024. So a very popular game on consoles. And they would say it's like Deus Ex with vampires. And this one is taking it to modern setting, and you have these characters with new abilities, and they have many factions fighting against one another, and they'll be given new skills and abilities. And then all of the game is going to be based on yourself crafting a supernatural character, and his abilities will then define what you will be able to do in open missions, whether you can fight, sneak, talk your way through, do various kinds of diplomatic consultations. So your decisions and your activities will affect everybody around you. Looking interesting. I definitely want to see what the game is going to be like. Then we have Assassin's Creed Red. I mean, it's astonishing, isn't it? The Mirage just come out. We got another one coming, and that's coming again from Ubisoft Quebec. They've not confirmed either the release date or the date for its Game Pass inclusion. They said that many fans have been waiting for some of these things that are being advertised for nearly 15 years, and this is going to be a major adventure across feudal Japan. So Ubisoft Quebec had created Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they promised that the Assassin's Creed Red will be a bit like a Shinobi Fantasy, and that is likely to be released towards the end of the year. And then you have Assassin's Creed Hex coming from Ubisoft Montreal, and that's again a very mysterious game. They've said very little about it, and it will be taking place in 16th century Europe, and they will be tackling those notorious witch trials. So that's basically their code name. So we'll see whether the game is going to have the same title eventually. Again, not confirmed for Game Pass, or indeed have not confirmed the release. And then another Assassin's Creed Infinity, and it is a connective tissue that will bring all future flagship Assassin's Creed games together. That's what it said. Codename Infinity is set to act as an interactive hub of sorts, and unlike the Animus itself, it will be allowing every player to connect more seamlessly with all corners of history. Very interesting in that, because you've seen with Valhalla and with Origins and with Odyssey, those are a bit like educational hubs about those countries and the history, and you can learn so much about the history of Egypt, of England, and Greece, ancient Greece, through those titles. So I think if they're creating Assassin's Creed Infinity as being the major hub for which you could connect with history and all other elements, then that will be terrific. We'll be definitely appreciating every bit of it, and I'll be certainly using it. So really a lot coming from Ubisoft, I have to say. Assassin's Creed Infinity, Assassin's Creed Hex, and then Assassin's Creed Codename Red. We cannot ask for more, I don't think, in such a short period of time. It's just really astonishing. Contraband. So that's coming from Avalanche Studios. Neither the inclusion on Game Pass or the release date has been confirmed, but it will be in 2024. And that's coming from the studio that created Just Cause. Have you played Just Cause? A very, very good shooter and a very enjoyable game. So that's definitely the new open world co-op game, and happening in the 1970s. And again, similar to Just Cause, you have criminals and smugglers and all sorts there who will have to be chased and then eradicated. And then we have Clockwork Revolution, Well, Clockwork Revolution looked very much like Bioshock to me. It's coming from In Exile, a company that created Wastelands, and they said that, well, I mean, first of all, the trailer was really highly enjoyable and really, I'd say, riveting in terms of its visuals. So it should be like a steampunk-infused world, which is both historic and futuristic, but we know absolutely nothing about it. So maybe that is going to be one of those jewels of the next showcase. I don't know, it's possible. I almost forgot about the title, but it really stood out together with the Lies of Pinocchio and Outlaws and a few other games there. It really did stand out. So listen to this. After watching Denis Villeneuve's Dune 1 and Dune 2, now we are getting a brand new game as well called Dune Awakening. And this is unlike the previous Dune games, which were point-and-click strategy games. The new one is a survival massive multiplayer online, which is going to be set on Arrakis. And then you'll try to make it on a harsh sandy planet along thousands of other players. So it's going to be major multiplayer activity, and with experience of survival, and you'll be building shelters to weather sandstorms, and then there will be all these huge worms chasing you. And they've not really released anything much. Funcom is the company doing it, but I did see yesterday that its arrival will be, fairly soon. So we are not going to be waiting for the game for quite a long while, and that's probably blending in with the release of the films in cinemas as well. The third installment is also, I think, planned for next year, or is it in 2 years? I've read the other day something about it. Everwild is a brand new IP from Rare, and that's the developer of Sea of Thieves and Banjo-Kazooie and Battletoads and many of these fantastic games. I played Battletoads, hilarious. It really is one of the best funny games on Xbox. And then Banjo-Kazooie as well. We've seen several games in the series, really funny. And Sea of Thieves, I didn't say more, but it migrated also to PlayStation recently, so it's no longer an Xbox exclusive. So there you are. And that's the new game coming from them. They didn't say anything about it. We've seen just a couple of screenshots, but it looks very open worldy, mystical. So I'm not sure what will happen there, but looking very good. Then a game that we are expecting, I should say, we are highly anticipating and are hugely excited about the new part of the Dragon Age series, and it's called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. So that's coming from BioWare. The dates have to be confirmed, and this is something that we simply cannot wait to see it. And considering how much I love Dragon Age altogether, for me, Dragon Age, I always said that, is slightly superior to Elder Scrolls series, because it does have a sort of gameplay that I like the best, as well as its storytelling. And I'm really excited about Dreadwolf. We don't know anything about it really. Mass Effect 5 and this one are being kept under wraps completely, so we have no knowledge at all on what's going on. What we do know is the games are being made, and that's most important. The game that opened the last year's showcase was Fable 4. And the trailer was one of the best I've ever seen for any game. So to say that I'm excited is an understatement. And Playground Games are still working on it. And we are still waiting to see when the game is going to be released. It will be on Game Pass from day one. And again, it will be very much blended into the world of old Fable titles. GTA 6. GTA 6 is expected to come out in 2025, and needn't tell you, it's coming from Rockstar Games. And again, the usual thing with GTA, Grand Theft Auto, open world, many activities, several characters to play, and loads of funny memes, dialogues, and silly things which you will do in order to break the law and complete the game. Jurassic Park Survival is coming from Saber Interactive. The dates are not confirmed, but you are going to be playing Dr. Maya Joshi, and she's a scientist who's stuck on the island Nublar, and then, like in any other Jurassic Park film or game, everything simply goes south and you need to survive. Got to say, the last Jurassic Park I watched in cinema was terrific, and it didn't really score too well with some of the fans, but I thought it was a really, really good game, a really good film, and probably one of the best in the series. Mass Effect 5, told you all about it previously. Really, we don't know anything about the game, but that it is being made, and we are very, very excited about it. Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater. So that's coming from Konami, and that's also been introduced during the PlayStation Showcase in 2023, and we'll have to see whether the game comes out this year, or maybe it will be coming out in the year 2025. But anything to do with Solid Snake, you know, is always greatly anticipated. Then we come to the game that Bungie is working on, and it's not Destiny, it's Marathon. And so there's a lot of speculation about this game, what the game's like, and what will be happening in it. And I'm certainly thinking that Marathon will be very similar to other PvP games where you do not have much of a story, but it is all about PvP and hammering the opponents. So don't forget that they already had this game in the 90s. It was a PC shooter, and this is just reworking the idea and putting it into completely present age technology and more contemporary, more futuristic types of environments that are mouth-watering, really visually, and very exciting for anyone who likes competitive PvP. It'll be probably competing with Fortnite and Apex, but what and how it is going to be delivering the gameplay is still unknown. The dates are also not confirmed. Monster Hunter Wilds. You could see the list just goes on and on. It's unbelievable how many games we're expecting. We are in for a real treat. Monster Hunter Wilds next year, 2025. Nothing is known about the game. OD. OD is a new Hideo Kojima game, and it has been mentioned a few times, and he said himself that it's going to be exploring the concept of testing your fear threshold. It'll be a horror game, but we do not know what will be happening in it. And you have several people from, well-known kind of horror genre films: Sophia Lillis, Hunter Schafer, and most importantly, the veteran Udo Kier. He played lots of characters, different characters in Andy Warhol's films in the 60s and the 70s. And Jordan Peele, one of the most popular contemporary horror film directors, horror-struck sci-fi film directors, is also fully involved with the game. So very interesting to see what direction this will take. Path of the Goddess, Capcom game, will be coming out on Xbox Game Pass, and it looks like a really gory samurai game, and we don't really know much about it, but it just seemed like a game with a lot of fighting, a lot of hacking, a lot of sword-based incursions. So that is its trademark. Project 007, coming from IO Interactive, and it's a brand new James Bond game. And we'll have to see. IO Interactive worked on Hitman series, and obviously they will have something very similar delivered in here. Always enjoyable stealth games, the masters of stealth kind of gameplay, and really looking forward to that. Perfect Dark Reboot is another one coming from The Initiative and Crystal Dynamics, and I also think it will be on. Yeah, they confirmed it will be on Game Pass. This game is very popular, one of the most cherished, loved and treasured games of 360 generation, and this is going to be completely new and coming directly from The Initiative and Crystal Dynamics. So you play Joanna Dark, and that's going to be again like kind of an echo sci-fi tale in the near future. Routine, Luna Software, and that is a new survival horror game. Don't know much about it. It will be on the game, not confirmed for the Game Pass. But we have State of Decay 3. Well, that is also greatly anticipated. Everyone's still doing the State of Decay 1 and 2, and one of the most popular survival/horror games ever created. And it's very tricky as you're playing a crew, and each one of the members has got to survive. If you go down to the last member, then the game ends. So it's all about your survival. And you compare that game with The Last of Us 2, which is a completely different concept. You really are being kept on your toes from the word go, because you need to survive. and zombies everywhere. South of Midnight, that's Compulsion Games, Game Pass release as well. The date's not been released. The Outer Worlds 2, I'm very excited about that one. Love the first game, and the Outer Worlds 2 is still an enigma. We know that we've seen the trailer, we know that the game's being made, but otherwise nothing at all has been said. How many games were there? Have you counted? There must be more than 30 games. Incredible, and all of them are penciled for the Xbox release within the next 18 months. So that is really astonishing. Really, really exciting to see that there are so many games that are indeed coming our way. I have several games radar postings indicating what the 25 best free games are, and also what 10 best Far Cry games are. So we'll have a look at it in a minute. We just want to see what else is there. We have a new arrival in 3 days I should say, on Thursday. And I talked about this game already quite a bit here. It is Little Kitty Big City. So similar to Richard Fleischer's and Tex Avery's cartoons from the 1930s, you have here this tiny little cat getting lost in a city and trying to find a way, and coming across all sorts of unsavory characters. And like them, you have animals representing humans in an urban situation where things go seriously wrong, and it will be delightful. You know, we'll see what types of characters this kitten is going to stumble upon. But I find it very interesting how the influences and the origins of some of those ideas go back in time with the first 10 years of sound films. I discovered that in quite a few of the projects, and I'm delighted to see that the history has not been forgotten, and some of the developments that we're observing in video game industries are very similar to what was happening with the newly created big studios of Hollywood in the 1930s, with the emergence of the talkies, in other words, sound films. And so there are many similarities, and I'm quite excited to see that this industry is evolving in a similar fashion. That wonderful new Quirk indie game will be out on May the 9th. It was also presented during the ID at the Xbox presentation, so if you're interested, just head there, have a look. And what's interesting is the CEO of Larian said that he believes that the huge success of Baldur's Gate 3 is not just about the graphics and the gameplay, but it's also about the way they built it, so that everybody in the game would be treated in the same way as they would expect to be treated by somebody else in real life, i.e. treat others in the same way as you would like to be treated yourself. And 10 million sales, and it's a record-breaking critical acclaim. You know, it's incredible. And that is Sven Bink, and he said that he believed that this was a Catholic answer: treat your players as you would like to be treated, and that is it. And he had the very best campaign of marketing in the world, and everybody basically talked about it. I've seen the trailers and everything else, and then more than 1 million players for the first week. And so he said it's the old rule he picked up, that if you take your pre-orders and multiply it by 10, you know basically what your audience is going to be like, which is interesting. I didn't really think that this always worked, but nevertheless it worked for them. And he was also thinking about describing how their planning was very much based on long-term thinking, and long-term thinking was more important than just considering the capital gains, i.e. profit seeking. So he has been very much against the idea of, I guess, scooping the quick bucks, but considering a strategy that will keep everyone occupied and busy, and with huge anticipation for any extra releases that will be coming into the game. And he said they've been really updating, adding new content, and generally it's been received so far very well. And you know, everyone keeps talking about Baldur's Gate. It's just true. Even if you try it on PlayStation as a trial, or if you watch some of the gameplay or Twitch streams where people are doing it, you will be captivated by its vast quantity of characters and different types of activities which you can complete, as well as a massive big open world, plus being able to romance. You know, that's something that appeals to very many gamers worldwide today. It's a very, very important thing. There's one article today on that as well. And let me just see very briefly if there's anything. There weren't really many things coming in during the weekend, but we have here some information about new games coming to PlayStation 5. Let me see, as we talked about these arriving to Xbox, and that is for the week ahead, 6th to the 12th of May. So let me see, we have The Prison of the Night for both consoles, PS4 and PS5. 9th of May is Animal Well. Crow Country, the game I talked about here, also presented with the game creator on the regular PlayStation podcast, so you guys go and have a look if you're interested. It's a horror game that looks very interesting, released on both consoles, PS5 and PS4. Gift for PS5 alone. Imagine Earth, PS5 and PS4. Pac-Man Mega Tunnel, Battle Chomp Champs for both consoles, 4 and 5. Rainbow Cotton, PS5 and PS4. And then you have The Prison of the Night. I'm quite curious about that one. On the 8th, and then the 9th of May is Animal Well, Crow Country, Gift, Imagine Earth. Wait a minute, did I say that? That's actually being released in the UK. Yeah, I beg your pardon, I should have told you that in USA on the 8th of May, that's in America, The Prison of the Night, and then 9th of May, Animal Well, Crow Country, Gift, Imagine Earth, Pac Mega Tunnel, and Rainbow Cotton, and I think it's the same dates. Hang on a minute. Yeah, it's the same days. It's ridiculous. I don't understand as to why they've created such separate both things. All these games will be released on the 8th and the 9th of May, so that is definitely what we're gonna watch for. Anymore, we have lots of recommendations on 25 best of this and that. I'll leave that for another day. And we have some incursions update. That's basically coming from the developer and linked to Everspace game. Everspace 2 this is, and that went live on Friday through Game Pass and also through Game Pass for PC. So they said you can just download the update if you're playing Everspace. Everspace is a very, very good game, and I still need to play it a bit more. I tried it, loved it. It's just like a massive big space that needs to be explored, and I have not been having enough time to do that as I played Andromeda and Starfield and all the other sci-fi kind of space shooters. And you need to allow time to be able to soak up the elements of that massive big open world. Otherwise, it's not worth it. And then you have some recommendations about Fallout 76. And this is telling you what you need to be having as your camp resource items. And don't forget, Fallout 76, together with 4 and 3 and Vegas and all the other ones, has been selling in huge quantity ever since the new series has been released. And you have loads of items in 76 that you can build and create. But then the question is, what is that you need to be picking up first? So this is a very useful selection of 10 of the very best items which can be built and crafted. So remember, you need to be paying attention to this, as the abilities that you'll gain with them will help you progress in the game. And also, particularly if you're doing it together with other people, I guess similar to some other games, if you're doing it in squad, you'll have to be considering what will be beneficial to the overall group activity. So the first thing recommended as number 10 is Turbo Fertilizer Collector. So that seems to be very, very important. Regrow crops instantly with it. Right? So you have a lot more materials coming in. And you can get it from Samuel in Foundation. Then you can have a Collectron. So a Collectron, it'll be with season rewards, and some will be through the Atomic Shop purchases. And there are lots of Collectrons in Fallout 76. Some will be giving you food, others will be giving you junk. And then during one event, there is a Collectron that's going to be giving you holiday gifts. Right? So that's all very good. You've got 3 different types: Santatron, Nucatron, and Fetch Collectron. So each one of them will be giving you something else. Nucatron, Nuka-Cola, Sanatron, junk, food and holiday gifts, and Fetch will be giving you electronics, junk and ammunition. Then Mirelurk Steamer, so that is for carnivorous, and you get that through Atomic Shop. So You can basically generate various Mirelurk based meals for the player to enjoy. You can stop to 10 pieces of meat, and each meal will be producing different time buffs for players to enjoy. So if the player is a carnivore, then you will be your buff will be doubled. So definitely keep this in mind. Cooked soft shell meat, smoked Mirelurk fillets, Mirelurk jerky, and then roasted Mirelurk meat. All of that can be acquired. Nuka-Cola mystery machine, and that means you can have Nuka-Cola every 5 minutes. A Nuka World scoreboard reward, and you can get it from Mortimer in the Creator Core for 1250 gold bullion. So you will know that Nuka-Cola is one of the most popular parts of Fallout, and this is the preferred beverage of most Wastelanders, but those who are living in New Vegas. And the machine costs 15 caps to use, and then you can just get rid of a random bottle of Nuka-Cola, and you can use it every 5 minutes. So that is ideal if you are to be completing daily and weekly challenges, and that will require players to drink Nuka-Cola. So really cool. I drank a lot of Nuka-Cola in Fallout, so I will be definitely getting that one. Fusion Core Recharger, so you don't have to be crafting fusion cores. Costs you 700 atoms in the Atomic Shop, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It recharges your fusion cores. So really cool. And then Armcore Ammunition Construction Appliance, so you can basically build your own ammunition at home. Get it from Mortimer from 750 bullion, and then you can produce a lot of different types of ammunition, which will be useful for you. Popcorn machine, so that's a tasty treat for everyone, and you will be getting reward for completing the Spooky Scorched event. And you can also get it from Mortimer for 1250 bullion, and it just does popcorn, so it's not the best food, but it can basically keep you sweet for the time being if your hunger bar is pretty much full. Birthday cake is number 3. So you can be celebrating the anniversary of Fallout 76 with that cake. You get it if you complete 2023. Actually, if you complete a 2023 birthday challenge. So you can't get this item unless it'll be brought back in the future. So it's just giving you 8 slices of cake, and that is giving you a lot of energy. So you fill the player's hunger bar. It really helps your life. Coffee machine, number 2. So you get a lot of APs from that, and that is what you could purchase in the Atomic Shop, Atoms. And you have canned coffee that doesn't expire, gives you 12 AP regeneration for 25 seconds, and then the boost is stackable. So it's basically a must item for anyone who is using VATs. So this will regenerate VATs while they're being used, and it's the only item in the whole game that does exactly that. So that's terrific. Then company tea machine, and that's number 1. So that seems to be like something absolutely precious, and that gives you a longer AP boost. So Season 15 scoreboard reward and 500 atoms in the Atomic Shop. Similar to the coffee machine, it just creates drinks that provide a boost to your AP. And the boost is different, so it varies. So you can have a drink that the company tea machine produces, and then you'll get 10% AP refresh rate for 60 minutes and 20% disease resistance. Well, that is the one which is very important in Fallout 76. The disease resistance, 20% up for almost 60 minutes. So it makes a big difference. Disease resistance, well, and also the big difference will be when you're getting AP refresh 10% every 60 minutes. So all of that is seen as the most important lifesaver for you in this survival game. Fallout 76, that is. Survival RPG, how would you call it? Action style? Hard to tell. It's also multiplayer, and it's similar to Destiny, in fact, with some of the open world activities. So that altogether is just about it. We have some other information here. Just the last bit I'll tell you is XDefiant. We talked about it yesterday, and its 6-week pre-season will begin on May the 21st. So we're excited about this shooting game, and it has been talked about for some time, had been cancelled couple of times and the release delayed. So that is definitely coming from Ubisoft on the 21st of May. And the pre-season, it'll be starting and it'll be run for about 6 weeks. And you have 5 factions, 14 maps, 5 gameplay modes: Domination, Hotshot, Occupy, Escort, and Zone Control. And there's going to be a ranked mode practice playlist. So I think Sakapupu and our friends who are doing the Crucible will quite enjoy it. Also 4 versus 4 competitive matches in Domination, Occupy, Escort, and Zone Control. So that's cool. That's coming out, we said, on the 21st of May, coming from Ubisoft. And that's probably it. There is nothing else I still want to share. I've got some other bits of news here, but I'm not going to be telling you anything about it, as this could be just too much information to be soaked up in such a short period of time. And tomorrow we'll look at 25 best, 10 best, etc. I got several of those coming from Games Radar. I thought this was going to be a good pedestrian way of giving you those recommendations, but hey, considering how many games are coming on Xbox and PlayStation, that's more than 40, and us talking about each one of them did actually eat up all of that time, and we are now somewhat pushed for some minutes, and we'll get back to the other details on another day, as they are in any case not day specific. You know, it's just like can be said and presented on any day of the week, and particularly on weekends when we do not get many news coming from the major studios. Right, friends, I think that's probably all I have for you today about the video gaming industry and all that's come on the wire to myself and other news presenters, readers, collectors, you name it. And I hope you've had a good couple of hours listening to my words of wisdom, ramblings and musings. Hopefully you found some games that you want to be playing very soon as they're released. I certainly can tell you there are several, like the Star Wars Outcast, then the Avowed, and the Outer Worlds 2, and you know, too many to count really. So I really look forward to the period of the next 18 months with all of them being lined up. I don't think that video gaming had a better period ever in history. There was a bit of a congestion, a bit of delay during the pandemic, but we really caught up, and there are many titles coming out of various developers as we go along. And you heard today I introduced so many. Very excited about Xbox Showcase in June and everything that is to follow. Let's see what titles they will be introducing, particularly the title that is going to be placed in their Redacted Showcase event, and that's similar to what they had last year with Starfield. So I'm very excited. It's going to be AAA blockbuster, something that they've been keeping under wraps, maybe some major surprise. Anyway, I thought it was going to be Avowed. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you for being our dedicated community members. Just remember that we are running the recent streams and podcasts in support of Mind Charity, and I'm running a fundraising campaign for Mind. So this is a British-based charity that helps people with mental health problems, and we want to be raising profile. We want to be collecting as much revenue as possible through donations, and just making sure that those people who actually need our support and help the most are receiving those donations as soon as possible. By donating, you are becoming an active participant in the process through which you save lives, and you are also helping the most vulnerable members of our community here in Britain, and you make sure that these services can carry on. You know, they can evolve, develop, they can select maybe a few more volunteers, employ a few more people, find new offices, and that is what really matters. Also, if you do not want to donate, you can simply talk about it on your social networks, spread the word, share, like, make sure that other gamers realize why mental health is so important, and therefore you'll be providing us with a great service, and we'll be very grateful. So thank you for that. Remember, subscribe, support, donate, and therefore help our charities. As I said again, subscribe, support, donate, and help our charities. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I shall see you all very soon. Take care and have a very good afternoon.